We have to make up in our minds that we want Jesus Christ in our hearts. We have to make up in our minds that we want our lives transformed.
Yes, sir.
Because if you remember, the heart is sometimes considered of being the center of emotion and the center of personality.
Right. Right.
So if we get Jesus in our lives, then he's going to get control of our emotion. And he's going to get control of our personality.
Right. Yes, sir.
That's why you can see a person one year, and then the next year they're a whole different person.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
They're a whole different person.
Yeah.
A transformation.
Yes, sir.
They become rooted in God. In verse 17 it says that Christ may dwell in our hearts by faith, that ye being rooted and grounded in love. Being rooted means to become stable. To become stable. The love that's being mentioned is a love when you have a concern for the well-being of others.
Yeah.
That's the love that we're talking about this morning.
Yeah.
It says in verse 17 that Christ may dwell in our hearts by faith, that ye being rooted and grounded in love.
In love. In love.
Concerned for the well-being of others.
Yeah.
We have to be concerned about the well-being of others. And sometimes we can use examples to help you. Again, for some of us, it's our sons. Most of us in here have children. For some of us, it's our sons. For some of us, it's our children. It's our mothers and our fathers. So we have to love one another, church. That's the greatest commandment. That ye love one another. And we have to be rooted and grounded in that love.
Yeah.
We have to be rooted and grounded in that love. We have to become stable in that love.
Yeah.
We have to become stable in that love. And the reason today we need to become stable or be rooted and grounded in love is for verse 18 and 19, where it says that you may be able to comprehend with all saints what is the breadth and the length and depth and height, and to know the love of Christ, which passeth the knowledge, that you might be filled with the fullness of God.
Yeah.
That you might be filled with the fullness of God. We as children of God need to come to an understanding of the love of Christ.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
We need to come to an understanding of the love of Christ.
Yes, sir.
Because there's a difference between the love that we are so familiar with and the love of Christ. There's a difference. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
Because the love that we now are familiar with is if they treat me right, I'm going to treat them right.
That's right.
If they don't step on my toes, I'm not going to step on their toes. But Jesus Christ, he changed all that.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, it doesn't matter. He said that they despitefully misuse you, pray for them.
Pray for them.
Jesus Christ tells us to love our enemies.
Yeah.
And that's not an easy thing, let me say. That's why we need the power of God.
Yeah.
Because we can't do that by ourselves. We need to be rooted. We need to be rooted in God because we need his spirit.
Yeah.
We need his spirit to help us love the person who told us they hated us.
Come on, God.
We need the Spirit of God to help us love the person who misused us and abused us.
Yeah.
We need the power of God to help us with this love.
Yeah.
We need the power of God. We need to reconnect with God.
That's right.
He's the source.
He's the source.
He's the source.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's the source.
Speak well, brother.
We as the children of God, we really need to come to an understanding of the love of Christ.
Yeah.
And it says that we need to come to that. We need to know that love of Christ, which passeth knowledge. As Pastor Broussard put on Friday, he said that the kind that makes no sense. That's the kind of love we're trying to be rooted in, church. The kind that makes no sense. When your friends will look at you, didn't she cuss you out the other day? And you still gonna pick her up and give her a ride home? You still go and check on her after she didn't gave you them devilish eyes. You still go and check on her, see how her day going. That's the kind of love that makes no sense. We have to be rooted. Yes, we have to become stable. We have to become stable. In the other word, it says is that being rooted and grounded in love. That means that has to be a foundation. That has to be a foundation. Yeah. Because if you're familiar with a root, it goes into the foundation. It goes into the soil. Yeah. It digs into the soil. Yeah. And it goes deep into the foundation. Yeah. It depends on what kind of plant it is.
Yeah.
It depends on what kind of plant it is. But we need to be the best plant. Because we need that love to go deep into our hearts.
Yeah.
For some of the stuff that people done to us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got to go deeper.
We have to go deep.
Yes, sir.
And this may not be for everybody. But this is for those. This is for us who's trying to do what Christ wants us to do.
That's right. Come on now. Come on. Yeah.
This is for those of us who's trying to do what Christ wants us to do. He wants us to love one another. He wants us to love our enemies.
That's right.
And he gave the example. He said, the publicans, that's tax collectors in the Bible. He said the publicans, they love those who love them back. So why are we doing the same thing? What is it worth?
Yeah.
What gain is that? If you're loving somebody who's loving you back, that's easy.
That's right. Yeah. Easy.
It's easy to do that.
Ain't no roots for that.
You don't need no type of roots. We talking about, that's weeds right there. That's some weeds right there. We need to be rooted. We need to be those oak trees. Those oak trees, they're deeply rooted. Y'all see those big old trees? They be fat and big, and the branches just go from here to there. The roots probably go to the core of the earth. We need to be deeply rooted in love. We need to be concerned about our fellow man. We need to be concerned about our fellow man.
Yes, sir.
And we don't need to be as no weeds. You get some weed be gone and that love gonna be gone. Somebody treat you wrong and you don't love them no more.
Read, Reverend. What you say, boy? Read, Reynaud.
Somebody talk to you wrong and you don't love them no more.
That's right, yeah. Read, Reynaud.
That's the weeds.
Yes, sir.
Them weeds, we need to be like an oak tree.
Yes, sir.
It don't matter what hurricane come, no oak tree's not gonna be easily uprooted.
Yeah.
Those oak trees gonna barely move when them leaves gonna fall off, but not the roots. The roots gonna stay in the ground.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And if anything break, the whole tree will break before the roots come up.
That's right. Come on. Whole thing. Come on.
We need to be deeply rooted in love.
You breathing right now.
We need to be concerned about our fellow man.
Yes, sir.
This is what Jesus wants from us, church. He wants us to love one another. He wants us to love one another. Jesus Christ say, love one another as I have loved you. Come on now. And I heard Pastor Alexander say that's some criteria that Jesus has set.
That's the criteria.
That's some criteria. To love somebody else as Jesus Christ loved you, first we got to know what Jesus Christ did for us. But we're not going to get into that right now.
Help us.
The love of Christ that God and Jesus Christ wants from us, I need y'all to follow me, is of something that called the fourth dimension.
The fourth dimension.
Is of something called the fourth dimension. I don't know how many of us in here have heard of the fourth dimension. But I know many of us have heard of three dimensions. Yeah. 3D. That's what? Width. That's how wide, how long, and how high. Yeah. And how high. Yeah. But in verse 18 it says that you may be able to comprehend with all saints what is the width. That's what breadth means. What is the width? What is the length? What is the depth? That's that fourth dimension. And what is the height? Yeah. And what is the height? And it's talking about the love of Christ. Yeah. Because it then goes on in 19 to say, and to know the love of Christ.
Yeah.
So this love of Christ is of something called the fourth dimension. It has four dimensions. Yeah. The fourth dimension is something beyond the kind of normal human experience. Because sometimes it just doesn't make any sense. I'm talking about the love of Christ, y'all. The love of God just doesn't make sense sometimes. Of the mercy that he shows us and the grace that he gives us. We know we don't deserve his grace and his mercy, but he gives it to us anyway. That's beyond our imagination. That's a fourth dimension. It's something beyond the kind of normal human experience. Now normal is, you treat me right, I'm going to treat you right. That's normal. That's normal. But we're talking about God here, y'all. The creator of everything, the creator of the universe, the creator of the fourth dimension. And he probably created more dimensions than that. But he wants us to love one another as Christ loves us. Deep. Love is more than just the surface of things. And that's that love when somebody don't treat me right, I'm gonna treat them right.
Yeah.
Love is more than just the surface of things.
Yes, sir.
It's deep. It's deeply rooted. We can't just love because of what people do to us. That's not what Jesus is asking of us, church.
Yeah.
That's not what Jesus is asking of us. He wants us to love deeply. He wants us to care for one another. He wants us to love one another.
Yeah.
He wants us to be there for one another when we can. Because he did it for us. He was there for us. And that love that's just on the surface of things, that love that's just on the surface of things, that's a 3D love. We need to have a 4D love. We need to have a love that people can't even understand. People can't even understand why you helped that lady who cussed you out 20 years ago, or that person that stole from you 30 years ago when y'all were younger. It's a 4D love. It's a 4D love, a love of Christ, a love of Christ. The three dimensions consist of width, length, and height. That's just the surface. 4 dimensions adds the depth, or the internal of things. The love of Christ looks past our faults and sees our needs.
Yes, sir.
Don't Christ look past our faults? Because I know I'm not deserving of anything that he does for me.
Come on.
I'm not deserving of anything that Christ does for me. But he looks past my faults. And he sees my needs.
Thank God.
And he sees my needs. Somebody say being rooted.